Alright, so look, man, quick video here. Melyssa Ford. I haven't heard his name since I was like 13 years old, dude. Up until the Joe Budden podcast, at least. She used to be like a pretty popular video vixen. I remember seeing her in all the old music videos. Other than that, I don't know too much about her. But anywho, that was way back in the day. Like almost 20 years ago. 2 decades. And now she's 48 years old. She's been in the media recently because Drake name dropped her on his new album, which is probably my favorite song on the album, Give Me a Hug. He name dropped Melyssa Ford, called her a legend from the Six, aka a legend from Toronto, while at the same time dissing Joe Budden. He said Melyssa Ford is a legend of the Six, and he hate to see her sitting beside a D sucker. Now, before I get into Melyssa Ford, Drake himself, I don't even understand why he dissing Joe Budden. Dude, you can't keep dissing people and then getting mad when they drop 5 back-to-back diss songs on you. It happened with Joe Budden. It happened with Kendrick Lamar. If you wanted to diss Joe Budden, why didn't you respond to all of those diss songs he dropped back then, dude? It's over. Let it go. You trying to diss this man now that he's a full-time podcaster? He's retired from rap. He literally tried to have a rap beef with you. Me personally, I just think that's corny. And the same thing kind of happened with Kendrick Lamar. Come on, Pimp Squeak. Drop and give me 50, Pimp Squeak. Your foot small. Then this dude started dropping back-to-back songs. Here comes Drake on the Hard Part 6. You know what? I don't even want to do this anymore, Crowdy. It was a good verbal sparring. But you're dropping too many diss songs. I quit. Huh? Won't you begging him to... You know what? You gotta stop doing that, Drake. Because if Joe Budden come out of retirement right now and drop another 5 diss songs on you, you're gonna do the same thing again. Just sit there and ignore it and act like he's obsessed with you when you're the one that dissing him. It's crazy though. If you're gonna diss somebody, be ready. Don't complain when they start dissing you back. But with that being said, I do not understand the Drake hate right now, especially with this new album. I thought it was pretty good. But honestly, I think Drake is just getting old. Yeah, we're going to still like this type of music. I'm in my 30s now, dude. Anybody from like the 90s, this type of music is like nostalgia to us. But for the modern Drake fans, they not trying to hear that, my brother. That's not the Drake they grew up on. So I think that's why it's getting so many mixed reviews. But again, me, I like it. Especially this song we're talking about today, Give Me a Hug. And back to Melyssa Ford. She's been running with that Drake line for the last few days. She even updated her Instagram, putting legend from the Six in the description. And she's been getting some backlash because half of the people, they feel like, hey, Drake is the biggest artist in the world, basically. He shouted you out. I don't see a problem with you being happy about that. Take that clout and run with it. Versus the other half, he called your boss a D sucker right after shouting you out. As dope as it is that Drake is shouting you out, you gotta have enough awareness to know this could be disrespectful to your boss. The person who's been employing you for like the last 2 years or so, who brought your career back to life. Won't nobody think about no Melyssa Ford. Let's be real. Last time I heard about Melyssa Ford was when the Game was rapping about her. What'd he say? Something about Melyssa Ford driving a Honda Accord? I think it was on his song, Couldn't Get Far. Or is it Wouldn't Get Far? It's Wouldn't Get Far. Wouldn't get far. Yeah, it's Wouldn't Get Far. But yeah, that's the last time I heard about her, dude. Up until the Joe Budden podcast. Won't nobody on Instagram looking at them little bitty old cheek. All these Instagram models out here nowadays, that video vits and stuff, that's over with. But the Joe Budden podcast did bring her back. I think she found her place on the show, even though I disagree most of the time. But she gives a perspective from a woman, right? So she definitely fulfilled her role on the show. Like, she deserves it. I'm not saying like she doesn't deserve it or anything. But won't nobody thinking about you. So now with Drake dissing the hell out of your boss, like being so disrespectful, a D-sucker? That's fighting word. Like when Joe Budden run into Drake next time, he got to swing on him. Yeah, it probably would have been best you just stayed out of this one. At least for the time being until the smoke cleared. And she not even knowing she getting finessed. Drake ain't thinking about you. Drake using you to get at Joe Budden. Manipulation. If you won't sitting beside Joe Budden, that man wouldn't never shouted you out, sister. You're being used, a pawn, and you fell right into it. But luckily for Melyssa Ford, I don't even think Joe Budden cares this much. But there's no way she can't understand the way certain people are looking at this situation. For example, I remember she got into it with Cameron, right? Cameron went off on this woman. And you know who was right there beside her defending her on that couch? New Joe Budden. Even though Joe Budden don't have any problem at all with Cameron. Matter of fact, they cool. This is my co-host. I gotta stand with her on this one. Now, Joe Budden did admit that you was in the wrong. But once Cameron started getting disrespectful, calling you out of your name, wearing clothing with your mouth over his crotch. Hey, where that picture at, man? This dude literally put Melyssa Ford's face on the crotch of his pants. You get what I'm saying? And Joe Budden wasn't going for that. Now imagine if Cameron sent Joe Budden a pair of them pants. And Joe Budden just decided to wear them on the podcast one day. Or just take a picture of them. Or just take a picture wearing them and post it on Instagram. I bet Melyssa Ford would have been mad as hell. And she would have felt the way. It's no different, my sister. Drake called this man a D-sucker. And that's what Cameron is calling you by putting your face on his crotch. You would have felt disrespected and you would have felt like you have been wronged if Joe Budden would have done that. If Cameron would have dropped a freestyle on you and said, shout out to Joe Budden. Joe Budden, you a legend. I hate to see you sitting beside that D-sucker. It would have been a totally different story. You would hate Joe Budden if he did that to you. Misogyny. Misogynistic. My name is Melyssa Ford. And you are misogynistic. You hate women, Joe. Especially the black woman. Melyssa Ford. Man. Joe Budden, kick off the show right now. No, I'm just playing, dude. Don't kick off the podcast, man. This ain't even that serious, big dog. But definitely let her know she's in the wrong here. Because if the roles were reversed, if you would have went this route with the Cameron situation, we all know how that would have ended, dude. So for once, don't be over there pandering. You definitely be pandering, dude. I love the podcast, but y'all be over there pandering for sure. But tell her about herself, man. But anyway, man, how y'all feel about this? Let me know in the comment section, bro. Like, comment, subscribe, that notification bell, man. Hey, man, follow me on Instagram, TZF Baby 252. Adios. Look, y'all ain't expect that, huh? Never let them know your next move. I'm gone.
Prolific.
Ay, bitch, I'm in these streets. Fuck this industry. Bitch, I'm in these streets. Fuck this industry. Ay, bitch, I'm in these streets. Fuck this industry. Bitch, I'm in these streets. Fuck this industry. Bitch, I'm in these streets. Fuck this industry.